let's kick off the call. We're gonna buy in like first 5 minutes of personal self-intro, Superteam Balkans, the Vibhu, just to buy some time while more people are coming in. There's like annoying pop-up each time somebody joins the call on Google Meet. It's like boop boom, boop boom. So we're gonna buy 5 minutes of time and that stabilizes, I guess. Unless somebody actually educates me on how to mute those notifications, but cool, okay. Kicking off the call and done. Thank you all for joining the call. I'm Jos Vladovic, here in Croatia, consultant to Superteam Balkans. The purpose of the call is to talk about everything product marketing related. So that goes from like founder-led marketing, how to get a repost from Tolly, how to amplify a launch campaign with Solana, and all the way to like shit posting. So we're going to cover a couple of topics, things that are like low-hanging fruit for you to just like pick up some advice for Vibhu and you can immediately level up. That's kind of going to be the play. And also to like get some more context on what you should actually do when you're thinking about marketing. From my side, I'm a developer. I'm a founder on Solana, not yet successful. You can see that by the poor setup here. With my team, there's also, let me also turn on the slides. Yeah, this is me. With me, there's also like Mattia and Marco. They're in the chat. They're probably going to post their Twitter handles. So if you want to follow any of them, if you have any questions for Superteam Balkans, you contact either Mattia, Marco, or myself. And there's obviously our golden guest, Vibhu from Solana Foundation. Before we go on to Vibhu, just like context why we're even hosting this workshop. It's a hackathon season on Solana. So there's the biggest hackathon on Solana currently, Colosseum. Vibhu, do you also hear these pop-ups?
Yeah, I'm just driving me nuts. I was trying to figure out how you can turn it off. I don't think you can.
Yeah, okay. No Google Meets next time. Sweet, but it's gonna get better in a few minutes. It's a hackathon season. If anyone has any questions, wants to build their startup, and many of you here are specifically because you're currently participating at Colosseum Hackathon, you can ask questions. There's Jacob Creech in the chat. There's Vibhu around. If you need to connect, use the opportunity. Ping them right now in the chat. Find them on Twitter. Tell them that you saw their handle. Connect with them. So use the most out of this call and the hackathon. As for Colosseum, for those of you that don't know what Colosseum is, it's the biggest competition on Solana that's being held 2 times a year. It's a startup competition, not really a hackathon. And specifically because it's a startup competition, founders have to think about marketing, traction, go-to-market, everything related to getting their product out there and finding product market fit. So it goes beyond just being like a weekend hack type of project. And that's why we actually organize this workshop specifically so founders can level up their marketing skills and use the next couple of weeks in Colosseum to place their product on the market. With that being said, Vibhu, passing on the mic to you. Who are you? What's your experience? Why should I listen to you today?
Is there a way to turn off the
We're gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it in the meantime.
It says no, unfortunately, and it's driving me insane as well.
We can stop admitting people, I guess, in 2 minutes.
You should admit people, but like, is there a way to allow anyone to come in if they just have the link? So you don't have to approve?
Yeah, look.
Okay.
No.
So I'm Vibhu. I work on the very, very small marketing team at the foundation. This is the first real job I've had in a very long time. Most of my life was on your side of the fence as the founder. Turns out that product marketing and being a founder are like pretty similar jobs. Like the founder's primordial job is kind of product marketing. So, you know, it is a reasonably good fit. That being said, you said, why should you listen to me? Like, Josip knows I'm going to say this probably, but like, you shouldn't listen to me. You should only listen to your own intuition and your guts. However, if you were going to listen to somebody, I think I'm better than most because I speak the truth. I've our marketing push. I speak. I want the best for everybody, especially founders. I believe in founders. As is my video and audio good? Yos was going in and out for me. Yeah,
it's all good. Perfect.
I personally believe that being a founder is the highest caste in the caste system of the world. It is the highest status one can be. So I want every founder to succeed. I've raised a lot of venture in my life. I've been a VC. I've invested in a lot of companies. I've exited companies. I've kind of done all the stages of the journey. So I've at least seen this stuff. Again, sometimes like older people, and I am old.
You're muted right now.
Muted?
You stopped at the part where you said you're old. Admin needs to unmute him. Could it be the admin?
I cannot unmute him, and I'm supposed to be admin.
Oh, we got you. We got you out of jail. Yeah.
Okay. Turn off the noise cancellation. Okay. Is that studio sound? Filter out sound through mic. Is that better, Kirill?
Yeah,
Is that good?
it's better.
Oh, okay.
So you were saying you were old?
Yeah, no further comment. No, I do feel like the older you get, like the more you feel like you have like a lot of opinions about stuff. And yet I always remember that the world is owned by young people. Their ideas are way more important than anything that's I could ever have to say. So like I feel like if you had to choose, it's like going out and doing something with innocence and like no knowledge is way better than doing it with experience. But an entrepreneur, it was helpful to hear ideas from great founders or people that I respected at least around me, and they kind of helped me build a worldview. But you should always pass that someone else's worldview through your own first principles, rather than like taking something that someone said and just trying to do that directly. So, yeah.
Okay. So to add on to Vibhu's point, you should definitely listen to him. I think he's in his prime. He's like old enough to have that experience and young enough to still feel young and actually be able to provide relevant experience to the industry. So yes, 100%. And it all boils down to storytelling at the end of the day. So even if Vibhu is not educated in marketing, he does nail down the storytelling part. So he is relevant on that regard. With that being said, Vibhu, when somebody asks you marketing tips, what's like the first thing that comes to your mind? Like what's the base you want to cover?
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to say is that there have been like, because people always bring this up now when I talk, like founders bring this up when I start talking about Twitter and marketing. They're like, well, Axiom doesn't do marketing. Well, Hyperlink didn't do marketing. And I'd say like, yeah, great point. Like really good products and great products stand above anything you could ever say or do. That is a fact. For 99% of other companies, having a clear point of view, having clear messaging, being able to talk about what your products will set you apart as well. So you don't have to do these things. There's obviously like, I don't think the Axiom guys have ever tweeted, like pretty much, and they built the fastest growing company of all time. So I can't, you can't like, yeah, all the old playbooks and all the old rules may or may not apply. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I wanted to talk about language, because language is really the root of not only all marketing, but mostly founding companies. Language is the operating system for human brains. When you say something to someone in the right way, they never forget it. And the practice of product marketing specifically is, designing those messages, designing those ideas that occupy someone's brain. And this is not an idea that I originated. There's an amazing book which I've recommended to lots of founders, which is probably 50 years old. It's called oh man, what is it called? It's called Positioning, I think. Positioning. I should have Googled this first. I don't have any prepared slides here.
The Battle of Your Mind, is that it?
The Battle for Your Mind, positioning the battle for your mind. It has like lots of examples that aren't relevant, but it's an amazing book for developing a framework on language. The other person that I really look up to is James Courier, who founded the firm NFX, which led Drip's Series A, which is the company I founded. James Courier, he's the guy that invented the term network effects. And if you just Google him, he has lots of awesome materials, but he has a lot of good stuff on language as well, which includes things like naming your company. One of his ideas that's like naming your company isn't like some small decision. Like you should take a lot of time to do it right, and make it memorable, because it kind of again, it's like what everyone will remember about you. There's only so many things. Like we're constantly intaking so much information to our brains all the time, and there's only so much I can remember about any particular person, any particular idea or company. So it is your job as a founder to know what idea you're going to insert in people's head and what they're going to remember about this, right? The positioning book is has this very specific example of categories. So you like if I say to you Solana wallet, I just put that word in. I just programmed your brain, because everyone here had a different thought of what that meant to them. I bet though most people probably thought Phantom, and some of you probably thought Soulflare. It is like, yeah, Soulflare is fine. I know Soulflare, Team Balkan. Like if you came to market today and you said, I'm building a Solana wallet, this is a Solana wallet, you are competing for that mind space in someone's brain right alongside all these other things, right? And people are more likely to forget it because they're only going to remember they can only remember a couple things at a time in each category in their brain. This is really hard because I can't see anybody. Can you see people?
Yeah, we can see people, yeah.
Control like I can see you now. I can't see any of the guests. Like, is there a way to like turn off like?
You can turn off the screen there, Joseph, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the screen share. Can you see the people now?
Yeah, okay. So yes, so language. I'll give you another example. And this is like pretty much every crypto company does this, like makes a version of this mistake, and every founder. Think about Uber, okay? Like a very valid pitch for Uber would be it's a two-sided marketplace where riders can meet drivers, right? That is a terrible pitch. That's terrible, but it is accurate. It is factual, right? What's better is, hey, you can get a car in 5 minutes to your house, right? You can instantly get a car to your house and get somewhere. This is really like, this is product marketing 101. This is where language, this is why language is so important, because one of those ideas changes the world. One of them probably disappears into the archives, but they're the same thing. They're describing the same thing. There's many examples like that. Another famous one is like the invention of the term social media is an interesting story, because for many years in the early internet, there were a lot of user-generated content platforms actually. Like in photo sharing, for example, there were a bunch of companies that called themselves photo storage platforms. This is before Instagram. Okay, I'm dating myself here. And if you think about it, like, what's the difference between photo storage and photo sharing? They're very similar. But photo sharing is the idea that really took off. Even though the front end of that experience is the same, which is I want a place to put my photos online. What you say also changes the product that you end up building, because it kind of it aligns everybody in your company, and aligns everybody outside of your company as well to know what you're working on, what's important to you. So basically, like, I think the basics of product marketing is carving out a unique position, a worldview, spending as much time on the language as you do on the product. If you get the narrative right, the product follows behind that. So many great ideas start with, what if something worked this way? That is a wonderful way to think about the world, because there's probably other people who are thinking about that same thing. So that's, yeah. Okay, you have a question.
Yeah, there's like two rather simple questions, and they might be dumb. But first one is, did you first learn all of this and then read a book? Or did you read a book to learn this and then applied it?
Neither. Actually, first I saw this in practice. I saw this at Nest with Tony Fadell, who's one of the greatest product marketers of all time. I remember observing the process. So one of the interesting things about every ex-Apple company, and Apple specifically, Apple doesn't have product managers. They have product marketing managers. They are dominated by product marketing. Like, the product marketing people are the most powerful people at Apple, and all of the tree of the Apple companies kind of have the same idea. Like, when we were designing the Nest thermostat, before we designed new products, Tony would sit down with his engineering team and his product marketing folks, and they designed the experience of opening the box. And they wanted to work backwards from how someone would feel the first time they saw the product and felt it, and they worked from there into the product itself. That's the crazy reorientation that I was watching. I did not have words to describe that, because a lot of times, like, you see something happening, you don't know, you're not exactly you start pattern matching. And then when I talked to James, that was the first time I kind of conceptualized of all these things I had observed and then learned. And these books and these things kind of helped me describe the phenomenon that I was observing. That great companies start with the right words, and they start with the feeling that the customer is going to have when they use the product, and not building.
This is exactly opposite of what we're used to. So normally, like, developers specifically, they love coding, they find an interesting problem, they try to they build like a solution and try to find a problem, and they enjoy building the solution.
That's purely driven by ego and not by strategy, because when you're a founder, especially a young founder, you have a lot of people in your life who are saying, who might say they believe in you, but they really don't, right? You're taking a risk. You don't have a high status job. You're not a level 6 engineer at Google. You're not working at OpenAI, right? And so building is a way of like telling those people that, look, I'm doing something real. And this is a huge trap for this is like, I probably told you this many times in our conversations, like, building is the last thing you should do when you're starting a company. It really is, and especially now, because building is getting easier and easier. Like, building isn't the thing that's going to make most companies great. But it is the easiest thing to do, especially if you're an engineer founder.
I remember
you can
your
sit
tweet.
down and be productive for 10 hours a day or 15 hours a day at your computer and feel like you're doing something. And then you come back and you ask me, Vibhu, why isn't anyone using my product? You know, and it's like, well, what were you doing this whole time? Well, we were building, we were shipping, you know. It's like, all right.
I remember a tweet where you said, like, first-time founders, I had bookmarked. First-time founders are focused on the product. Second-time founders are focused on distribution, talking to users. And third-time founders are focused on shit posting.
I mean, that was just shit post. I don't know, like, but
it is true to some degree, at least.
There is some truth to it. I also had this idea of product marketing being all the things that you hate about your competitors, what your competitors say. Like, yesterday, was Jacob and I, these are Solana people in here, so I'll just, like, you know, behind the scenes, right? There's this tweet from the Ethereum Foundation, and they had this like graph with like number of new developers, and they had as opposed to last year where we were number 1, Ethereum put themselves number one, and they did this by grouping all the L2 stuff into the Ethereum kind of ecosystem. And yes, okay, worst chart you've ever seen. And I think a lot of people were like, "Oh man, this is like rage bait. This is so frustrating. This is so unfair." I was thinking that's product marketing. Like that is like high level product marketing. And I got scared because I'm like, okay, they have some good people there now. Like there's some good people. I even reached out to like the person, someone at the Ethereum Foundation to be like, "Oh, kudos, this is great." Like I see you, and this is awesome.
I mean, look,
and it happens in every category, right? You see companies or competitors like, "Oh, they said this, and that's not true," and that's so frustrating. The elevated view of this is that's great product marketing, and I need to figure out how I can do that too. How do I compete on that level, right?
I mean, Solana also has its own like history where like number of transactions per second like advertised a little bit differently. Back in the day, like
everybody
50,000.
does this. Everybody does this. This is, again, you don't learn this. It takes a long time to see it, and once you see it everywhere. Like some founders I know, like before they start, like some great founders, before they start a company in a space, they go read all the press releases, all the websites of all their competitors, and they compile a list of like their like how do they talk about the product. And you can see like in that research, you see like emerging like certain touch phrases, certain like ways of constructing sentences. Those are like, that's basically like product. Like it's basically product, just the product is a collection of words in a way that's compelling. And you don't ever want to, if there's a strong company, you never want to have the same words as somebody else because you will just be forgotten. You have to invent a position that is going to be unique for you and that you can own, because you always want to play your own game. It's
one of the most beautiful things that Solana does with like only possible on Solana, accelerate internet capital markets. Like Solana is really good at inventing like new words and positioning in the market there in like unique ways.
Yeah, I think we have been very good at that. I honestly, like a very good example of this is RAV. RAV is classic product marketing. Like it is, it pisses off the Ethereum people, right? If like using the reverse of what I just said, like they look at that and they're like, "Oh, that's fucking bullshit." No, that's good product marketing. Like, you can take, and crypto is very stats and data heavy. Like another part of marketing is data, and especially in crypto. What data you measure, how you construct it. There's a longer talk here to be had, but like data, you can weaponize data because like that graph is a perfect example. You know the famous saying, right? Like lies and statistics. That is like 100% true, and it is. And once you can understand that, you can wrangle it into a superpower for your company. And this works at every level. It works with retail, works with customers, it works with venture capitalists. And I think part of the reason why is that, especially on the capital raising side, like if you're capable of generating great narratives and great messaging and great positioning, a VC knows they can trust you with the next steps of your business. So
good question.
Monad does awesome product marketing.
Yeah.
Polymarket.
Sorry if I'm cutting in. It might be the internet. Maybe I'm just rude and impolite. Okay. To circle back a little bit on the book positioning, and then we move to a little bit different topic.
Yeah.
Regarding the book, it has like over 200 pages. Should I stop this stuff I'm doing and read it? Am I going to get that much value? Should I pull it through ChatGPT to give me a summary? Or is that bullshit? Or should I skip it?
Read the intro and the first chapter and you'll be good. You'll kind of get it. The rest of the book is like going over
diving deeper and iterating and example.
Intro, for me at least, the intro was enough to give a really, really powerful
the beginner gains are in the intro and everything else is like repeating scoring the point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull it through ChatGPT.
You can summarize. I don't know. I've never tried that. I think reading is good because you want to hear how they're talking. You want to see the actual words that they're using to say this stuff, like because words are important. Like so.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set up my product launch campaign, and I'm gonna get ChatGPT to read the book and apply all the findings, please, Mr. ChatGPT. Probably not gonna work, right? Okay. As for the other topics I would like to cover a little bit. So most of the people here in the audience are people building for Colosseum. So they're like fresh on Twitter, don't have 100 followers. They don't know how to engage with Solana accounts, with Solana ecosystem, how to get a triple emoji quote post from Toli, and so forth. So, and they don't even know how to do like the product launch announcement. Like, is it the one announcement? Is like 2 days build up, 2 weeks build up, and so forth. So what, if you like put yourself in the shoes of like a first time founder trying to place a product, like what would be the immediate steps that you can do to get something out of marketing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the thing one of the lessons I took away from YC that I never forgot, I did YC in 2011, was that there's two ideas here, two schools of thought. One is you can just keep launching your product over and over again, and like no one's stopping you from doing that. And I think a lot of founders like do a lot of they kind of like key up to this single thing, and then they're hoping that they're gonna like things are gonna work from there. My preferred way of thinking about this is that you almost should never launch your product. Like, and I know people are upset with Monad and stuff because there's probably some airdrop farmers listening to this for some reason, God knows why. I've been seeing on the Solana account like just managing this like by our replies or people being like, "Hey, Monad fucked us." I'm like, I don't care. Like, great. Like, why are you telling the Solana account about this? But like, you know, they've progressive over a long period of time, like progressively launched different things. I much prefer personally, like never having that big launch, rather like this slow escalation of initiatives and growth, and then talking about milestones. It like at the end of the day, like I think that's way too many founders come to Solana hoping that a Solana like amplification is going to be their go-to-market strategy. Like literally, like I mean, every day I have found like folks that reach out somehow. And if I say, hey, I can't retweet this or I can't amplify this, it's like I've like somehow like killed their company, right? If you think Solana doing anything with you is going to make your company succeed, I promise you that is not true. Like there's like what we can do is redirect attention for a second, or we can pour fuel on a fire, but Solana's not going to make like there's just like you have to go out and build something awesome. There's only so much that we can really do. That's one piece. Okay. That being said, if you are looking for Solana help, like the common things that that we coach founders on is the positioning thing. I think it's very hard for us to amplify something, for example, that says, let's say Fundle was a DEX. Fundle is the best DEX at Solana. Like Fundle is changing the world one trade at a time, whatever it was, right? Like it's really tough for us to amplify that because like Solana has many DEXs, right? There's lots of teams that are asking for amplification. Yes, I understand that you're the founder of this thing and you think this is the best. That's awesome. But if that's your marketing, it's hard for us to touch it because I'm not going to recommend that this is the one you should use over Radium or over any other DEX on Solana. I'm also working with Radium. I'm also working with other folks. So you should, I think, like stay away from our team advanced. Yeah, so brutal. I think having like instead like just telling us what you do in the simplest way, without being PvP, without having to anchor it to other things, makes it much easier for us. I think generally speaking, active voice is like Twitter is dominated by active voice. This is, you know, what is? Can you describe Fundle in like one sentence?
Me.
Yeah. Well, who else?
The current one-liner is like Kickstarter via bonding curves. So you're crowdfunding through a bonding curve, and you graduate from Fundle raise to Kickstarter raise.
Fundle is Kickstarter with bonding curves?
Yeah. Or the alternative could be it's like a pre-launch mechanism for Kickstarter. So you launch on Fundle through bonding curve, and you graduate to a Kickstarter campaign, and people profit.
Okay, but why would someone use it?
It's essentially the reasons why somebody churns out from Kickstarter. On Kickstarter, people churn out. Like only 10% people back 3 or more projects on Kickstarter, because there's like too much downside and too little upside. A creator's rug, Trump introduces tariffs, and suddenly your project is down. So there's like
So is that a value prop for the founder or for the founder?
It's
of a
for the
project,
backers.
For the
So the point is to communicate to backers that they have the benefit of the upside if they back the creator early. And that kind of
Okay.
resolves the issue for creators, because if you have the backers, you have the crowd, you can raise here. So the communication is going to be towards backers.
So a bad post would be Fundle is Kickstarter with bonding curves built on at Solana. A good post would be back real projects, and earn.
Maybe
when
not
they
say
do
like end
well,
profit.
and profit when they do well on Solana, right? That's speaking to the audience, and not telling us what it is, but I mean, this is like really basic stuff, but like it is really about the benefits of what the product gives you, not.
Yeah. When you land
Kickstarter
on like Fundle, like the first message is back projects early and profit. I still feel
That's
like there's like juice some missing there, but that's kind of the idea.
Oh. Yeah. So yeah, like getting help from us is really like writing well, writing with a point of view that's not relative to other things on Solana. That's not dunking on other people. It's not PvP. That stands alone. A good video, a good media asset is critical. And tactically speaking, if you want help on that, this isn't my job per se, but I'm usually happy if you give us some notice to look at something and just return to you with like a thought about whether it's good or not.
Vibhu is probably like one of the most.
Promises, so, yeah.
Vibhu is probably one of the most Telegram addicted people, like super high agency. So you should utilize him for your personal gain if you need help with like positioning, even though it might be outside of his reach. Just tell him that like we were on this call and we were talking, and I was thinking like, can you put a review on this? He might hate me for this, but he is like quite cooperative, supportive of founders, and can help you a little bit. Don't abuse it, obviously, but
I know. I am yes. I'm pretty high bandwidth, but generally speaking, it's much easier for me if you're talking to someone else at Foundation before I'm looped in. The reason why is that there's also a lot of people who are like trying to scam me into like amplifying their stuff all day. So I usually just like want to have like one other touch point, like, oh, this person's legit. They're in contact with X, Y, or Z person, or they're funded by Coliseum, or I think we need to know.
So that's a part where
like by the way, like yes, super team, exactly. And if you're a founder that found your way on this call and you don't have those connections, so people, I don't know, like I got a DM yesterday from a founder who's like, how Solana never like amplifies anything that we're doing. They never retweet us, like whatever. And I looked at their account and they're not followed by anyone that I know. And all I was thinking was, if you can't even figure out how to get connected to someone around Solana, like you're probably not going to survive. So like that's not on us, that's on you. You have to figure that out.
So one thing is like super teams, and the other thing is if you're a developer, connect with Jacob Creech. If you're a consumer startup, connect with Pedro. If you're like payments, stable coins, Tamar, and so forth, like there's a lot of people in the Solana Foundation, from AI to whatever, that you can connect and should connect to get feedback before you actually get to the product launch phase.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a question in the audience, by the way, regarding the DEX's example. So what if that DEX does something different, going back to you're doing just another DEX? What's the point where you figure out that this is different enough for you to consider this a good positioning? Should it just be like additional feature? How did you decide that this is a DEX that we can now actually amplify, because it's not just another DEX like Jupiter?
Well, I mean, almost nobody starts like something that doesn't have some unique spin on it, right? And sometimes in crypto, those are very arcane. You know, they're very like niche, but that's okay. I think you just need to tell us like, don't say this is the best DEX on Solana. Like, tell us that like this, we built a DEX that does this, that benefits users in this way or does this thing. That's okay. I understand what I can at least like. I'm not a DeFi expert, but I can understand like why someone might want to use this. But most importantly, it's something that's safe for us to amplify because I'm not accidentally shitting on a bunch of other founders in the ecosystem, right?
Yep. I mean, recent one is like Titan Exchange when they launched, I think 225, and they're like a meta aggregator for DEXs, so they're not necessarily DEX, but they have that unique part, which amplifies.
So, great example because, you know, like one, they introduced meta aggregation as a term. That's product marketing again 101. That's not like that term doesn't exist, right? That's not like a thing that people are saying. If you say that phrase first and you go and own it and you talk about it over and over and over again, ownership coin's another one. MetaDAO's new pivot on product marketing. Like you can carve out that territory in people's brains using these kind of words. Now, Titan does a lot of PvP stuff, and I can't touch a lot of that stuff. I don't really, personally, I don't really love that. But you know, hey, we always get you the best price, and this is how. That's a great thing. Something we could definitely talk about, right? No problem, Seb. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. What's your thought process coming with narratives around a product? I think it starts with empathy. I think it starts with thinking through why you think this is a good idea. What is the reason that you're going to want to use? This is why people say like, if you don't use your own product, it's very hard. Like you can build great companies where you're not the user of your product for sure. Like if you're building Securitize, like you're probably not, you know, the same guy that's like loves tokenizing money market funds, right? So it's not in every case, but you know, founders that use their own products tend to be the best because they have deep empathy for the end user. And it starts with, it really does start with like, what is someone going to feel when they use this? What is the objection that they're going to have? Like with Titan, like the objection that someone might have right away is, well, Jupiter already gets me the best price. So what's the point of using this, right? So kind of anticipating where you're going to fit in the user's head, anticipating, yes, the exact showing how much money you save by using them. Another great product marketing idea, right? That is in the product itself. They show you like the price for different aggregators, and it is marketing because the quote that you get versus your executed price on chain are like pretty different things. Like I think, yeah, but there's no science to it. It is actually, it's a creative process. Like language is a creative process. You can't, yeah, I don't think you can smoke a bunch of weed and then come up with it. I think maybe you can, but like much better to like live in your user's headspace, objectively knowing what they're going to think when they see this. And he also disagrees.
Yeah, I actually agree, but I do know a team that does that does the weed and then does the brainstorming a little bit.
Yeah, and that company, Pump Fund. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, but it is a good company that I shill to you as well. Maybe they're just creative and then also
everyone has a different tolerance. Yeah. If I'm doing some harder stuff, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's not easy, but I just ask people to spend as much time on this as they do building, or if not more, because like it is a difference between success and failure more often than not.
The question is, if the product works well, you don't need to rely on marketing because users become your NCMOs anyway. So they become your like ambassadors in a way for people that don't know what NCMO is. True or false?
I think that is probably true, but I always hesitate to give this advice because I think that it leads most people down the path of like of just doing what they want to do anyway, which is to go write more code. Like again, Axiom is like a clinical example where like the normal stuff just didn't apply to them. But to be fair, like there are a lot of things they were doing that you know, just because they're not tweeting on X doesn't mean they weren't doing a lot of handholding, you know, and a lot of marketing behind the scenes. Like they aggressively built relationships with top traders. They had an amazing referral program that you know really helped them grow. Like I think yes, exactly, Kirill. Like that's still marketing. It may not be, you know. I think if you identify, and this is again just empathy, but if you identify that like the niche that we have to win for a trading platform is pros, and the pros are not the pros that you and I think of. They're not necessarily the people who are you know, loudly yapping on the timeline, but it's the people who are moving a lot of volume, who have paid Telegram groups, who you know, like, and those people, the only way to get to those people is not through Twitter, but through Telegram. Like, cool, like you build a strategy for that, but you know, it just doesn't apply to every, like most categories are just not like that. But crypto has more of them because you can build a really great company with 1,000 users that are rich. Whereas like in most Web 2, like it's a user game, not a volume game. I think Ilya from Tensor made this point the other day. Like there's very few things in crypto that have worked that require user scale versus volume or TVL scale. So.
There's a couple of questions that just came up. What are the methods to identify how to position your product and tell your message to target consumers early on? It's a little bit abstract question potentially.
Which one is this?
By Avetu Magege. So any advice / what? Yeah.
I mean, there's really no substitution for like talking to the end users that will be using your platform. You know, like they'll tell you, and sometimes they'll lie to you as well. They'll, you know, there's lots of cases where someone will say like, you know, went out and talked to 10 people that I knew about this idea, and they all said it was great, and it's kind of a false signal because people are generally nice. If they know you, especially, they're not going to give it to you straight. Like, you know, I think this may or may not be helpful, but the biggest company I started was called Beta, and before we raised money, before we did anything, we went out to talk to 45 hardware companies to tell them that we were building this retail store that had a different business model where the brands would pay for space in the store instead of us taking a percentage of the sales. And in exchange, we'd give them all this software analytics and such. And so I kind of like climbed the intro tree asking everyone, okay, can you introduce me to this person, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I would sit down with the founders and they say, yeah, this is cool. I'd like it. The very, like as soon as I got home in each case, I sent them a contract because we needed to test before we spent $1.5 million building a physical location. We really need to know whether they're being serious or not. And the only way to test that was not for them to tell me that it was great, but for them to like sign something and obligate money to us. So, you know, I think maybe that's helpful, but like, yeah, starting with talking to your users, empathy, knowing what what you would want as well. And then making sure that is not just words, but it's, there's like a meaningful, there's something behind that, might be helpful.
At the end of the day, so there's like a question here as well, which says like, do you ship the product first or tease and ship, and like do you do the marketing or the shipping first? But I guess you kind of answered it. At the end of the day, you don't want to really build a product that can't advertise, that can't sell. So you first want to test the waters with like selling and talking to users and empathy. But yeah,
I mean, if you
first or
I mean, it's both, right? You're doing both at the same time. if I had to choose one, like what's cheaper, right? What's going to give you more speed to get to conviction on your thesis? Because every company is an experiment, right? Like, the old trick was we used to in the much earlier days when you could buy ads on Google and whatnot, and it kind of worked. If we had like a new feature, we would before we built it, we would create a landing page with a wait list on it, and the product marketing was what the web page said, the benefits, and then the copy of the ad, and we would throw that up and just see, okay, did this resonate at all? Like, are people signing up for this? Is the conversion rate higher? You can do a lot of things to get conviction before you ever write a single line of code. And it's, I know that writing code is getting easier, but the reason not to start building soon is that it locks you in psychologically. Like, people really hate to build stuff that they have to throw away. So you should figure out how you can get conviction without having to get to a point where you might be throwing something away.
I think one of the silliest / best examples in the Solana ecosystem is the Solana mobile phone. As in, like, Saga was being built and then advertised and sold, and barely sold 20,000 devices purely because of like the luck element in a way. And then the second phone wasn't being built and then sold. It's called Chapter 2, and it is being sold as Chapter 2. Like, personally, I didn't even know what was it. Like, we were just getting into the Chapter 2, so it was like first testing the water.
They didn't know either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So you were like, and I have like one project that's building a hardware device. They're like a little bit concerned with like marketing and how we're going to deliver if we overpromise and such. Then I point them out, like, these guys sold 100,000 plus devices without even knowing what the devices will be. Play Solana, they didn't even have like initially the full product built out and weren't like really sure if they can ship it. Like, it was like super early stages. But they first did the marketing, proved that there's a demand for something.
Yeah, Solana is a good example because exactly, because like hardware, but I mean, it's going to take a long time to get to market with that thing. The worst thing you could do is go raise a bunch of money, build something, ship it that nobody ever even wanted. So, okay, at the risk of not being able to fulfill a promise, you might as well go out and test the demand as legit as possible. Like, people often say, well, like, what fidelity should this be at? And I would say, like, you should launch this landing page or this wait list or this thing as if it already exists. And it's because you don't want to, what you don't want is like to ask the question, well, was it a bad idea, or did we bring it to market the wrong way, or was it like too unpolished, or the feature's not good? Like, you want to design a test that's going to give you that answer as quickly as possible. And this isn't like a crypto thing. Like, this also happens in Web 2. Like, I mean, like the friend guy, like the friend.com guy, like everybody is doing this. I think you only get to see the results of this. So until someone tells you that, like, oh, like these guys launched a bunch of marketing for something they hadn't built yet, you wouldn't know unless you talk to them, right? Because they're going to do the best job of simulating that to get the best feedback. And like, you just don't want it to be a one-way door. Like, I think the problem with like doing this with NFTs or like a token raise is, now you're spending other people's money. So what can you do to get there without spending other people's money? That's very important too, especially in crypto. If you're a good person, you don't want to get to a point where we discovered that we didn't have the funds to build a Solana device. Well, we sold 1,000 devices, we can't build it. Don't do that. Like, it's gonna get you in jail.
There's a couple of super interesting questions in the chat. I'm gonna read through them. Potentially, we are gonna try to keep our answers short so we can answer as many of them. But one of them is basically, how do you recommend building a personal brand versus a company brand? Should I build both? Do I do the product launch announcement on a personal account? Do I grow both accounts at the same time? How do I balance and juggle those?
Again, lots of exceptions here, lots of different approaches. There's no one thing. Like Kirill is a great example of a founder who built an awesome business that's better than like 99% of the business on Solana, and he like almost never says anything, I'm pretty sure. So not necessary, but We do live in a time where founder led marketing is the meta. I think if you were planning to raise venture, you pretty much have to build a founder profile. Like it's really hard to or at least it will make your life easier if you have done that work. Mert, who is by most measures the top crypto influencer, I mean, his tweets do way better than the Helios tweets. No offense to Yaris or running the account, but oh, there he is. I'm sure you would agree, right? Like a good Mert tweet is going to do 10 times better than the brand account. But they kind of work together. But you can create that situation for sure. That was true for me too with Drip. Like I think my average, if we were bringing something to market, a new feature, it was really important that I did my own marketing for that thing, because it just got more reach. So I think it's both, but if you're going to be venture backed, you need to build a profile pretty much.
It feels like people stand behind other people easier than they stand behind like a brand and a corporate. And it also feels like that's the reason why we kind of personalize brands. Like Solana account is now not anymore like a brand account, it's an intern. So you're talking to an intern. Like even companies are kind of moving in that more like personalized approach, I would say.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is pretty clear, which is that we have become extremely immune to marketing as a species. Like we just ignore everything that looks overproduced, looks like it was designed to market something to me. So the founder kind of breaks through that a bit. When you see the face of somebody and they're saying something, it is marketing still. It's just disguised. And good marketing, even for the Solana account, for example, is the same thing. We never want something to feel like it's marketing. It should feel like a piece of news, or something that's as factual as it gets. And we're just trying to let you know about this versus here's something I want to sell you.
Whenever you see a tweet from Fundle, just remember this face. And when you see Solana, it's probably Vibhu. Okay, the next question would be founder market fit. Is it possible to spot a problem without being very experienced in a specific vertical? So can I build, for example, this is just me giving an example, can I solve a problem in DeFi if I don't have 5 years of experience in DeFi?
I would almost say it's better to come from outside for most things, because if something was an awesome idea from someone who has experienced it, probably would have already been done. Elon had no right to build a car company. I mean, right? So I think absolutely, being an outsider is, I think there's a great Paul Graham essay on this you can find, but I'd much rather see founders that came from outside, to be honest. DeFi founders who have been around for a long time are the most jaded group of motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. If you've been through multiple cycles in DeFi, and your worldview is usually really, really fucked up too, to be honest. People that have been around for 7 or 8 years in DeFi are really fucked up in the head. So I think you honestly, you have to come from outside to build something really disruptive and break through.
I would try to add a point there that, okay,
don't
sure.
Clip that.
Don't clip that. You could do it from the outside, but in that case, you have to be super aggressive on finding the problems and solutions and talking to users. You have to catch up to everything you haven't done with experience, right? You can't really just come to a specific vertical and shape it.
What do you mean?
So you can't just come into DeFi with a fresh perspective and as an outsider without, I would assume that you at least have to have that huge problem solving brain, and you have to dig deeper than everyone. You have to ship 2 times faster, 10 times faster, be aggressive. You have to learn.
Let me say this. I think that people way overrate expertise overall. You can pretty much learn anything that you want. And the people who are experts in things are they're really usually no better than there's nothing different from them than you. You could learn this too. Finance is a great example of this. really don't know much about finance. Akshay is the CMO of the foundation. I like have spent a lot of time with traditional finance folks over the last couple of months. And I was like pretty scared to participate in those conversations because I really didn't have like a deep background there. And we started like pitching ideas, and like these people were like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird because I don't know anything about this, and you're telling me this is a great idea." I think it's just way overrated. Like there's no again, you can look at the data here. There's no like multi-trillion-dollar company that wasn't founded by a 20-year-old. So what does that tell you? It tells you that like it's way more important to have new ideas, to have a lack of experience, and importantly to have innocence about what could be. Like, so again, like I really listen to young people when they have ideas, because no matter how annoying they can be, because and when I find myself feeling a visceral reaction like, oh man, you don't know what you don't know, man, like these are all the ways this could go wrong, like you have to like stop yourself from like saying that to somebody, because that is the spark of every huge company, is like you can't anticipate what's going on. That's the only way you could get to that moment. Nobody knows anything, man. The Steve Jobs quote, right, is the world was designed by people no smarter than yourself. 100% true, right? I think Patrick Collison said that too. Like the world is a museum of people's best ideas, or something like, he has some like phrase like that. Kryzen 37. Hey, 37, brother. Same here. I think like I just like you can build anything. I like honestly, like I know this for sure. The biggest DeFi company that's yet to be built is going to be built by someone that knows nothing about DeFi. I promise you. I promise you that.
I just spoke with a team. I have to apologize to the team, judging by you. I spoke with them a couple of days ago. They're like 20 years old, and they're building like a forex commodities, like tokenized oil, gas, and such. I was like, well, why are you even building? Like, have you ever done anything at forex, etc.? Like, why is anyone gonna trust you with their funds and millions if you can't really escape high school and homework? Like, can you? It was a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna reconsider that messaging.
The world is a museum of people's passion projects. That was the phrase. Yeah.
Okay. Question: can you be successful as a project without getting endorsed by KOLs? The answer is no.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, it's like almost like a counter signal. Like the more KOLs that show something, the less like interesting it is, to be honest. Like, because those are not the real users. Like I think you should use those folks strategically if you can, but like they're not the people that are using the product. They're not the people that are. What are you saying?
I would say it's a little bit like depending on how you define KOL. So if you're like building a developer tooling, and Jacob is key opinion leader on Solana ecosystem of developer tooling, and he is not even interested in it, it is an indicator in a way. But if you're talking about KOLs like Tolly or some shitcoin launcher, like I'm not gonna name names on the call if it's recorded, but
there's like, I mean, just like if you had called anyone at the foundation about Pump Fund a year and a half ago, every single one of them would have been like, I mean, this is pointless. This is shit. Nobody knows anything. Like, and nobody, like no KOL could have made Pump Fund happen. Like nobody, no one could have made that. That's just product market fit. That's like building something that people actually want to use and care about. I just wouldn't like, I don't know. I personally wouldn't give that advice, but I get it.
Yeah, no, definitely you can't succeed without KOLs.
Yeah, if Shilin Villa doesn't like your product, you're completely fucked. No, I'm kidding.
Don't clip this. Come on, man. You're just giving the materials later for the.
The dude replies to every tweet from the Solana account. It's like it's absolutely incredible. Or maybe it's not him, but it's
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? In case you like missed them, feel free to put them in the chat. We can potentially go into like the closing route. How would you get crypto Twitter users to try a new Web3 social platform? That's a really specific question and potentially no feasible answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, that is not easy. That is not easy. That is the hardest road. I mean, crypto is like anything that's not built for markets and trading is just, I mean, this current environment is really going to struggle. At the same time, that also means that someone could build a generational company in that category if they figured it out, because there's very little competition from other founders. As a Solana hardware startup, are you the founder of Unruggable? Is that
Yes,
Adams? Okay. How do you think marketing physical hardware product differs from marketing software product typical Solana app? That's not how it looks. I mean, the good thing is like the tools today for doing high quality renders and using AI even to like make it look as polished as possible is like the tools are just really, really good. So I still feel like you can run it like at the quality of Apple today without having the thing built. Like, and again, like in hardware specifically, you really need to have like traction prior to product, and you should be willing to refund the people as well. You cannot use your customers' funds to build. You need to use your customers' funds to raise money against separately.
So you can use them to like produce the devices, but you can't use them to develop the concept like the prototypes. I mean, you essentially like you can do a pre-sale of devices, but you can't use those devices to actually develop the product.
You should not crowdfund the device, use the funds, develop the concept, and have to raise money separately from that to bring it to market, because you may not. You can take pre-orders, keep it in escrow to test demand, and then go out and say, hey, we've got a lot of demand, here's the profit, and raise money to produce the order. But it's really risky.
So pre-sale, yes, but like crowdfunding, no.
Correct.
Because you're like betting with like users' funds on something.
But that's the morality question, not a company building question.
Yeah, of course. I do have to make a plug here for Unruggable. They will be launching their hardware device soon. It is the best hardware on Solana, like the best DEX on Solana. So feel free to like support them as their launch goes soon. They're not necessarily the best wallet. It's just a joke, reference to the DEXs. What should new Colosseum Hackathons project's first tweet be? And we're probably wrapping up with the questions.
First tweet? I don't know.
Big wig.
GM, yeah, GM's fine.
What is the strategy you use to grow users on a platform with low marketing? How do you grow? Yeah, how do you grow users with low marketing funds if you don't have the marketing budget? And this is the last question.
I mean, most companies shouldn't have like marketing funds for. I mean, most companies won't have marketing funds or won't have a way to use them very effectively for a long time. What I would do is I would use it to build a badass landing page and brand, and that's about it. Like you just like, again, that theory is use your resources to test your conviction with as much quality as possible to know whether it's going to work as fast as possible, because you don't want to waste your time building things that people don't want.
Vibhu, I feel like tweeting some stuff now. I feel like I'm going to make the biggest banger of a post right now. My brain got bigger. That's it. That's my closing words.
You should think about working on your company instead of that. But yeah, that sounds awesome. You're coming to launch next week, right?
Yes. I should be doing these calls. I should be shipping the product. But it's product placement, right? Like,
is it? Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's product placement. Like everyone go follow Unbreakable, go for a bundle. There's going to be something coming up soon. This whole workshop was built to chill us. No, just kidding. Yeah, it's Superteam Balkan stuff. Vibhu, feel free to close the.
No, thank you, man. Best of luck with everybody. Oh yeah, my well, you know what? I'll let you guys find my info if you need me.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna post like a Twitter account everyone should follow. Like, go and support this account. It's like Solana. It's a new intern that came to town, and just make sure like to show some love there. Beautiful. That's it. Thank you everyone for attending the call. Good luck with Colosseum. You're always welcome to border Superteam as like the first line of defense when bordering somebody, and then we filter your requests, help you with one-liners and so forth, and we push you to Vibhu, Jacob, etc., etc. So good luck to everyone. W's in the chat, and cheers.